Here today we're going to be looking at the Club 3D 4x1 MST Hub. I've already got it installed. I have the top three monitors, 1080p, set up in an Eyefinity group. I've just updated to the Catalyst 14.11.1 beta. And underneath those, I have a 21x9. It's a 2560 by 1080p. And so I'm going to plug it in and we're going to see what happens all live and together. So here we can see that it has properly detected the monitor. It sees it. It's not mirroring because I've got a cursor here that's not there on the bottom. You can see that here in Windows 8.1 it is mirroring the start bar at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into screen resolution real quick. You can see how it's got it here. We're going to physically move it under here, try to align it that way, and then click OK. And then we see here the mouse goes up and down between the center screens, and insanely easy, quickly done. We now have 3+1 Eyefinity using a 4x1 MST Hub. We can see here looking at the DisplayPort diagnostics screen in the Catalyst control panel that off port 1 we're using a total bandwidth of 20.76 gigabits per second, which again is 93% of the total bandwidth. So this is pretty much maxed out the bandwidth on a DisplayPort. We can see that each of the Dell U2211Hs, the 1080p monitors I have, are using 4.61 gigabits per second, which is 22% of the total bandwidth off of the DisplayPort 1.2. And the Dell U2319WM, that's the 21x9 aspect ratio, is using 5.6 gigabits per second, which translates to 27%. So we can deduce off this one hub, you could do 3x 1080p 21x9s. Here is the second generation MST Hub from Club 3D. It's a 3x1 affair. Again, you have a DisplayPort input here, a male adapter to plug into your video card, 3 female adapters here. If we compare it to the first gen that I've been using for quite a while, they're physically very much the same thing. Corners and texture may be slightly different, little rougher texture, slightly more rounded corners, but physically we're really talking the same box, same length of cable. You would be hard pressed to tell them apart. The big difference is what you'll find right here next to the DC power port, and that is the reset button, which they call the scan button. You'll find it right there, and this is useful if you ever get a display link failure with DisplayPort, which happens sometimes. It will prevent you from having to unplug the whole unit or pull power from the unit, and will reset the units. It does appear that the cable here is a bit stiffer, has a slightly stiffer coating. You can see my unit here has flex some, and even trying to take into account what I would think the age and the usage, the cabling on the new units does feel stiffer, and will hopefully offset some of the concerns I have about the units being held from the back of a desktop monitor like so. But if we take this unit out and we bring in the rest of the lineup, we have here the 2x1, and then we have the 4x1 here. You can see the two outputs, the one input. What you'll notice is that there is no DC input. This one is USB powered. You see the USB port here. It is geared towards notebooks, so you can easily add 2 monitors to one notebook. You'll note that it is full-size DisplayPort. Most notebooks are going towards mini DisplayPort, so you may need an adapter. Again, the 3x1 with the reset switch, and then here the 4x1, it's actually a little thinner. It does have some vents here on the side for heat exhaustion. And again, we've got the DC input and the scan reset switch. This will do, as we showed just earlier, it will do 3 by 1080p at 16 by 9 plus a 21 by 9 1080p. And you would be under the bandwidth of a DisplayPort 1.2. Under that bandwidth load, you could also do 3 by 21 by 9 1080ps, which means with either of these units here, if you wanted to go 3 by 21 by 9 1080p, which is 3 by 2560 by 1080p, either of these units would work for you. This is the second generation, the revision on the original units that I reviewed here on the forum a few months ago. That original unit received a highly recommended, and these new units receive that as well. They provide the exact same functionality, are turnkey, there's no drivers required. The newer units include better chipsets inside for fewer display link failures, and even if you get those, the scan reset button on the units provides, again, an easier sort of get out of jail free card to reset your monitors. So here we have the full line of second gen Club 3D units with DisplayPort outputs. They do make a version of the 3x1 with HDMI outputs if you're connecting to a set of displays that are oriented towards the TV market, but 2x1, 3x1, 4x1 from Club 3D, all highly recommended.